Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. And of course, if you want to see more videos like this, where we literally just paint, hang out, chat, get to know each other, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. I hate saying that. Why do I hate saying that? Also, you don't have to hit it. Just click it. Just very nicely click it. It's gonna be okay. Click the subscribe button. Make sure you like this video. I just wanted to quickly mention, this was my first time using the Leda Art Supply cold press watercolor paper. I've always used just, kind of the cheaper watercolor paper that you can find at craft stores, because I don't think I ever realized how important the paper was. And it was a long time before I even understood the difference between cold press and hot press. But I've never used good quality paper to paint on. And this paper is amazing. The pencil when I was sketching, as well as when I add detail later on that you'll see, it felt like it was just melting into it. It was amazing. And the paint just looked so good on this paper. And I don't know, I feel like this was my first painting I've ever done where everything came together so nicely. And this is the happiest I have ever been with any kind of traditional art that I've ever created. I am so happy with how this turned out, and I genuinely think that a huge part of this is the paper. So if you want to try out this paper for yourself or any other products from Leda Art Supply, I have a link down below that you can go to, and I also have a 15% off code for you guys to use if you decide to try it out. And if you do decide to try it out, please let me know and let me know what you think about it, because I genuinely love this brand and this company. The people are really awesome too. So yeah, let me know how much you love it, because I love it. So I went onto my Instagram stories and I posted a little box for you to put your questions in, and I will be answering some of those today, as well as I'm sure I will go off on a few tangents, because if you've been around me at all, you know that I have the tendency to do that. So let's just get started. Okay, this first question requires some context, so I will explain, but it just really cracked me up. Would you rather be trapped in a room with 100 butterflies or filled with Halloween decorations? Okay, so this comes from a very good friend of mine, somebody that knows me very well. A little background here. I'm really scared of butterflies. I don't think I always have been, because I remember going to one of those butterfly exhibits at a garden with my parents, and I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. My dad got me a little butterfly necklace, and it's so pretty, and I love that thing, and I really enjoyed it. But at some point in my life, it just flipped, and now I'm really freaked out by butterflies. I think it has something to do with their legs. They have really long legs, kind of like spiders. Not quite, but kind of. Or at least they just kind of remind me of spider legs. I think just because they are so long, and yeah. And I think their tongue also freaks me out. So it's just kind of a mix of having long legs plus they can fly and flutter around. It just really creeps me out. like, I love seeing them flying around in my yard. They're so pretty. They are very, very pretty. I just don't want it flying around me or towards me or, oh my gosh, if it landed on me, day's over. And then as for Halloween decorations, okay. Let me start off by saying I love autumn. I love it so much. I think it's probably my favorite season. Autumn and summer are definitely like my favorites, but I would say probably fall is like my top. So yes, I love everything about fall. I love like the fall decorations, you know, like the cute fake pumpkins and like the like leaf garlands and stuff like that. And I always decorate my house for fall. Like Labor Day weekend, I am decorating my house for fall. Leaves everywhere, pumpkins everywhere, orange lights, candles, the works. I love everything to do in fall. Early mornings, drinking coffee, reading a book, watching scary movies. I love fall, okay? But Halloween decorations, let's get into it. I have no problems with the holiday of Halloween. I have no issues with it. It's fun. It's fun because it's got like that creepy vibe to it. And that's kind of what I love about fall is like that kind of, it's like so fun and cozy, but then there's also sort of that creepy vibe that comes along with it. And I love that about Halloween, and I love seeing like all the kids dressed up in all their costumes, and I always had fun as a kid dressing up for Halloween and going trick-or-treating. But it's the decorations. I can't do it. I cannot do it. Basically, okay, if you go into any home decor store, Target, Home Goods, what's another one? Michael's. I can go through the fall decor section, the section with the pumpkins, even cute little ghosts, or, you know, just the cozy part aspect of fall, right? But I can't go anywhere near the Halloween aisles. If I am in a store that's got Halloween decorations, I either completely avoid that section of the store, or if I have to pass by it for some reason to get to another section, I hold my breath. I literally hold my breath. Yeah. Not even just like, I will avoid walking through a Halloween aisle, but if I have to walk next to it or by it, I will hold my breath. And I don't know why. I really don't. I've tried looking it up, you guys. I have tried looking up, like, I can't stand being around Halloween decorations. I have to hold my breath being around Halloween decorations. And I can't find anything because it always pops up with, like, Halloween phobia. And I don't have a phobia over Halloween. I love Halloween. It's great. I just cannot be around the gross, creepy, plasticky stuff. Even if I were in like the costume section, right? Even if it were a really cute little witch costume and there was nothing gross and nothing creepy about it, it was just a cute classic witch costume, I can't touch it and I can't breathe around it. I cannot do it because there's something about it's like associated with all these other Halloween things, and I can't bring myself to touch the material or breathe in the air that the Halloween decorations share with it. I don't know. I know. I sound insane. I sound crazy. I don't know what it is. The only way that I can describe it is I feel like if I breathe the same air as that stuff, that my insides will become contaminated. And I don't know what I think they're going to be contaminated with. I just feel like I'm gonna be contaminated on the inside or like dirty or something. And like, I don't know. I really don't know. I've gone completely crazy. I've totally lost the plot. I know. Yeah, so there's explanation to that question. My answer, I would much rather be in a room full of butterflies because at least I could breathe. I might be freaking out the whole time, but a room full of Halloween decorations and I'd be passed out within the first 2 minutes because I wouldn't be able to breathe. I remember my first job out of college, like I worked at a photography studio, and like the products that we sold when it came time to autumn or fall were like costumes for pets. I know. And I had a really, really hard time with those photo shoots because when I was a PA, I had to touch those things. I'm saying all this out loud and like I already knew that it was like I had gone too far, but I'm hearing it out loud and I'm like, wow, you need help. So, fun fact about me, I'm insane. Yeah, and I don't know where it came from because here's the thing, it's not even just like the gross stuff or the scary stuff. It has nothing to do with like, oh, that scares me or oh, that's gross. Like, yeah, the gross things gross me out and I don't want to look at them, but it's not even necessarily that because it can be, again, like kind of cute stuff that's not gross or creepy, but if it's Halloween themed, I can't go near it. I can't breathe around it. I cannot touch it. And I also like can't swallow because I feel like the spit that's in my mouth is gonna Yeah, I don't know, y'all. So there you go. Okay. Another question is your 9 to 5 conducive to artistic expression? And yes, 100% it is. So, I actually, um, a little over a month ago, became an artist full time. So, before I became an artist full time, I was working as a graphic designer for a college. And so, obviously, very creative, very creative. I actually got to use like my Procreate skills and like my artistic skills in my graphic design designs. But it was definitely like when it comes to graphic design versus like a fine arts type of art, the creative part of it, that it's kind of like two different types of creativity, and they definitely like they weave in and out of each other, like they totally work together. But at the same time, as a graphic designer, I definitely had to think about, okay, I have this like event that I need to advertise for, and so I need to get the feeling or the idea or the message of the event across, but I also have to make sure that the design is very like clean and is very like, when somebody sees it in the first like second, they know what they're looking at. You know what I mean? I feel like with graphic design, you have to think about your audience looking at something very quickly, and they need information from whatever your design is, but so you need to be able to get that information across as quickly as possible. I got to be creative and artistic in kind of a different way from the way that I am, making art right now. But they work together so well. And it's like the things that you learn through doing graphic design and the things that you learn doing just, freestyle art. It's like they can work together so well and strengthen each other. And the same for even the job that I had before my graphic design job. I worked at 2 different photography studios. And even though I was like a PA and then I became a coordinator, and so I had to be creative in a even more different way, again, it like all kind of came together and worked well to strengthen what I'm doing now, which is really cool. So like, as a coordinator, I had to be creative in kind of a more like, I had to look at like things as a puzzle and kind of put things together in a way where we could get the best quality in the quickest amount of time. You know what I mean? And like fit together, like, we have these photographers, we have these products, we have these types of sets, and we have these models, and I need to put all of this together in a way that makes perfect sense for everyone and for everything involved. So I had to be creative and think outside of the box for that, as well as then when as a graphic designer, I had to be creative in a different way, and now I'm being creative in another way. But it's like I have all these different like paths that I've taken within the past few years that now they've kind of all come together, and they're like my building blocks to what I'm doing now, and they're kind of like a really strong foundation for what I'm doing now. Hopefully that made sense. Yes, what I do now, as well as what I've been doing for the past few years, has always been creative, but in a lot of different ways. If any of you are in a job that, you're like, well, this isn't what I want to do in my life or whatever, really, really try to sit there and think, okay, maybe this isn't what I'm going to do forever, but these things that I am learning in this job and the things that I'm getting to do at this job are going to be building blocks for my dream job later on. And I'm so glad that part of my like building blocks and my foundation to what I do now is my graphic design job and is my studio job before that, because there are so many things that I learned along the way. Especially, with my graphic design job, I had to learn InDesign. I had never worked in InDesign before. And if I hadn't had to do it for a job or like for school or something, I don't know if I ever would have made myself learn it. And now it's like, I know how to use that program, and it's even if I don't use it exactly the way I did at, my job before, it's a really good skill to have, and it kind of made me think outside of the box, So yeah, just like try to see kind of everything as like a little bit of a building block and a foundation to where you want to be, this time next year or a few years from now, or, in your retirement. Everything is a building block. Also, with my graphic design job, I was also a photographer. Our whole team, we also did a lot of photography. So I got to photograph like all the different athletics teams. I would photograph all of the players for like recruitment guides and for social media. And I would do like these really cool, fun, like creative studio photos. And it was so much fun. And I loved doing that because I love sports. I'm not an athlete in any way, and I never was, but I love like the camaraderie of sports. it was a challenge to, get these athletes' personalities out of them while on set, which can be really, really nerve-wracking. Being in front of the camera, especially when you're in front of this photographer you've never met before, and you're in front of your entire team having to like pose and try to look cool, that's so nerve-wracking. And I am so glad that I was not on the other side. I'm so glad that I was behind the camera, but it was really fun because I had to try to make the atmosphere really like relaxed, but also fun, and kind of get them like hyped up and really try to make them feel comfortable and bring their personality out, because that was when we got the best shots. So it was so fun getting to do that. I am actually still, like, I'm an independent contractor with them. So along with being full-time with my art now, I do also have that, which I will still be taking the pictures and doing some graphic designs for them. So that's really nice to have that as well. Plus, I mean, like, I did enjoy those, those aspects, and I am still going to get to do them, and that's really, really cool. I'm also like a really big believer in, how do I word this? If you have a dream, you have the ability to achieve it. Like, you're not gonna have a dream if it would be impossible for you to achieve. But here's the catch. I think a lot of the times when we have like these dreams or these things that we want in life, we expect it to go a very specific way, or we expect to achieve those things in a really specific way. And we have like these steps that we think are going to play out in life in order to get us there. And that's not always the case. So for example, I'll give you an example of my life. And maybe you're gonna laugh, and that's totally fine. When I was a kid, I was completely convinced that when I grew up, I was gonna be a movie star. Yes, a movie star and a singer. Not an actress, a movie star. And that's what's so funny is, like, I cannot sing to save my life. And I'm not just saying that, y'all. Auto-tune could not fix this, okay? But I guess I had it in my head that when I got older, that as I aged, my voice would just magically become, beautiful. Well, it didn't. But yeah, it was like, that was all I ever thought about 24/7 was becoming an actress and a singer and moving to Hollywood and getting famous and blah, blah, blah. Thank goodness I did not do that, because I can't imagine being in Hollywood, honestly. I mean, that would be really terrifying. And if I were to become successful, I can't imagine not being able to go to the grocery store without people taking pictures of me. That just sounds like hell on earth. I mean, really. Pretty much my entire childhood, I was like just drowning in this dream of being a star. And while obviously I am like not even close to anything like that, like I imagined and dreamed of as a kid, I am doing stuff like YouTube, and I am in front of a camera for YouTube or for Instagram, and I'm putting like my skills in art out there to like an audience, whether it's a small audience of 3 of my friends seeing my Instagram post and liking it, which thank you very much, to if I've got 60 people watching this video. So I am kind of like, I'm putting stuff out there, and I am in front of the camera doing it. So even though I am clearly not a movie star, and thank goodness I'm not, it's like I'm still kind of living out that childhood dream of mine, but in a very different way that I never would have even expected or imagined or been able to think about. I never would have even imagined as a kid that like one day this would be what I do. I think little kid me would be really excited to see what I do now. So even though I'm not, off in Hollywood getting Oscars like I was convinced as a kid that I would be doing by now, I am getting to do something that involves like media and being in front of a camera, and like I genuinely enjoy it so much. Every time that I set up the camera and I'm getting ready to film something, I'm really, really excited to do it. It's so fun to me because I'm getting to, set up the lighting and set up the camera and try to get a really good angle and make it look kind of cinematic, but still like, real. And I really, every time that I'm like talking to the camera, I envision that I'm talking to you guys, and I feel like I'm talking to you guys. It's almost like I feel like y'all are there in the room with me, hanging out. We're talking, we're laughing, we're having a good time. We're making art and we're talking about life. Like, I feel like y'all are there. And that's what's so fun to me about getting to be in front of the camera and film YouTube videos for you guys. It's just a lot of fun. But in a way, I am kind of living out that childhood dream, just in a very different, like I've gone down a different path, but it kind of has the same essence as that childhood dream of mine. I hope you are kind of understanding what I'm saying. I hope. But just if you've got a dream, if you've got something that you really want to make happen or that you just envision yourself doing in the future, the path that you have to take to get there, or, the experiences that you have that get you there might not look the way that you always envisioned it or thought it would go. If you just have that end goal and then just like let the universe take you whichever direction you need to go in order to get there, and just like trust the process, you're gonna get there. But we don't necessarily know for sure what we need, like the skills we need, the experiences we need, the bad and good times that we need to experience to get to that destination or whatever. I never would have thought that in order to be doing what I'm doing now as a full-time artist, I never, if like my dream had been to be an artist, I probably wouldn't have thought, okay, well, I need to work at a studio and I need to be a coordinator and I need to work with animals as models, and then I need to be a graphic designer and I need to photograph like athletic events. And I wouldn't have thought that those were a necessity for me in order to do what I'm doing now, a full-time artist type of job. But for me personally, that is what I needed. The universe knows best, so just trust it. See, I told you guys, I can go on tangents. If you're feeling down, maybe, take a moment, just stop, think back on your life, and try to like look at it as kind of like building blocks to where you are now. And you might be able to start seeing like, oh, you know, when that happened, I learned this little lesson, or I gained this little bit of knowledge. And that has helped me now with these other things. And you can kind of start to like connect the dots. And it's really interesting. You know what? Maybe I have too much time on my hands to think about things. But it kind of makes things fun, right? It makes the hard times a little easier to get through, because it's like, I'm going through this hard time for a reason, and I'll understand it when I'm on the other side, you know? Should we go back to something a little more lighthearted? Do you want to hear more fears of mine? No, I don't want to, because I don't want to be putting that negativity out there. I'm really scared of heights. You won't be seeing me on a roller coaster, that's for sure. All right, I'm gonna end with this last question, which is, what are you thinking while you look at me from the couch at 12:36 p.m. on Monday? All right. Now that question would be really, really creepy if it were coming from a stranger, but it's not. It's coming from Jacob. And I specifically remember that moment that you're talking about because I was sitting on the couch. I was eating my lunch and I was watching Bob's Burgers, and Jacob was standing in the hallway looking at me with a very cheeky grin. And I knew he was on his phone, and I just knew like, he's putting a question in. Let's see what he's got. And honestly, what I was thinking is, how much longer are you gonna be staring at me? Because I can't eat and watch Bob's Burgers while you're just staring at me with that grin on your face. Oh my gosh. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you painted with me, oh my gosh, please let me know. Like, if you painted something, or if you worked on something, or even if like you were listening to this while you were getting work done or something, let me know, because that would mean so much to me. Like, that would be really cool to know that like I was your background while you got things done. That would be really cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed painting and chatting with me, getting to know me, finding out how weird I am. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Love ya.